So a couple weeks ago, we had just come back from Hawaii and came home, and there was this sign in our yard, and it said, "Got junk?" And I was like, who would put that sign in our yard? I was kind of like, what? And one of my neighbors said, "What's with that sign in your yard?" I said, "I know, got junk." And I asked Kevin, what's with this sign in our yard? Got junk. And he said, "Oh, remember they took away our mattress because we got a new mattress?" That was, it was somebody that did a service for us. And they put a sign in here. Okay. I felt kind of bad because I was like, some random person put a sign in her. Anyway, I started thinking about, got junk. Yes. We've all got junk. We've all got junk. So I looked it up. God, did you know it's a $50 billion business hauling away people's junk? $50 billion of all the junk that we have. Fortunately, they've been working on recycling that. 60 to 80% of junk that is picked up is recycled and repurposed, so it's not going in our landfills. But we've all got junk. Think about your inbox in your email. How much junk mail do you get? And we need to sort through it and delete it and get rid of it. And we don't want to recycle that. We don't want to send it back to somebody else. Think about your consciousness and all the stuff, all the thoughts, all the stuff that we carry and hold. Do we want to give that to someone else? Maybe you do. But hopefully not. Hopefully we just want to release it, let it go. We are such a culture that applauds. It's not a culture that applauds letting go. We're a culture that applauds accumulating, right? We're consumer-based consciousness or culture. We don't want to recycle that junk, but there's no room in the inn when we're filled with clutter, when our minds are filled with clutter. These beliefs, these thoughts that we hold, this stuff that we keep in there, just creates a prison. It imprisons us. It keeps us from being who we fully came here to be. It holds us back. And we want to live our lives more fully, more freely. Norman Vincent Peale says there's a spiritual giant within you which is always struggling to burst its way out of the prison you have made for it. That prison is the attachment we have to our stories, the attachment we have to our resentments, our shame, our guilt, those things we want to hold on to because how dare they hurt us. But they're stopping us from living a full life. They're stopping us from living into our potential. And so we want to let go of that. Maybe it served us in some way at some point. But isn't it time to let go of some of that? What are we carrying around? We need to get rid of the junk and step out of the prison. In Acts of the Apostles, in the Christian scriptures, there's a story, maybe you've heard it, chapter 12, where Peter has been imprisoned by Herod. This is after Jesus is gone. And he's been imprisoned by Herod. And he's chained by his wrists, and all around him are guards. And then he gets nudged by an angel of the Lord, it says, appears, and the light is shining. And the angel says, "Wake up, get dressed. Get dressed, start moving." And the chains fall off. And he walks out of the prison, he walks right past the guards, and he's free. Now, you can believe this story literally or not, it really doesn't matter. What it tells us is this, it gives us this guidance of what we are to do. Herod, when we look at things metaphysically, which we love to do in Unity, which I love to do, Herod represents that adverse ego, that part of us that wants to keep us small, that wants to keep us stuck, that wants to keep us separate from each other. And so Peter represents our faith faculty. And so if we're putting our faith in Herod, we feel chained. We feel imprisoned. But there's always a part of us, there's always this spiritual nature part of us longing to set us free. In each one of us, there is this divine essence wanting to come forth, wanting to help us live a life that we were meant to live. And so when the light shines on us, when we come awake, the chains fall off. We're no longer trapped. We're no longer imprisoned. We've released those chains. We go right past those guards. Those guards represent those thoughts that hold us imprisoned. We move right past them. They're non-issue. And then it says in the scripture that Peter came to himself. He came back to who he is as a spiritual being. We too can come back to who we are as a spiritual being when we let go, when we wake up, when those chains fall away. When we hang on to things well past their usefulness in our lives, we become stagnant, stale, and smelly, which is like the Dead Sea, which only has an inlet and no outlet. There's a flow to life. We have to have the out as well as the in. Everybody take a deep breath, hold it. Now don't let it go. Take another deep breath. You can't. Okay, you can let it go now. You can't because there's no room. We have to be constantly in this flow of coming in and releasing. That's what this burning bowl service is all about. Charles Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, says in his book Prosperity, as children outgrow their clothes, we outgrow our ideals and ambitions, broadening our horizon of life as we advance. There must be a constant elimination of the old to keep pace with this growth. When we cling to the old ideas, we hinder our advance or stop it altogether. We stop it altogether. We want to keep growing. Life wants us to keep growing. Life is forever emerging and growing and saying, live, live. But we stop it with our stuff that we hold on to. Think about how good it feels when you clean out your email inbox. You can find things. Or when you clean out your closet. I did that on Friday. After having the staff see my closets, I was feeling a little self-conscious. We had a staff party at my house on Friday. Anyway, you feel good. You feel free when you get rid of stuff that you don't use anymore, that no longer is serving you. Eric Butterworth tells a story of a young convict who, when he was disrobed to put on his prison garb, on his chest said the words, "Born to lose." It was a tattoo. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. What would have been, his life would have been if his words on his chest would have said, "Born to win." We have these words emblazoned on our minds, whatever they are, unworthiness or not enoughness, whatever they are for you, the stories we hold. Emblazon some other words on your consciousness and be in a place of abundance and prosperity and potential and possibility. We can do this. Many of us have emblazoned upon our subconscious mind a lot of self-limiting ideas. It's time to let those go. And so that's what we do with the burning bowl. We symbolically do this. We use our power of discernment first to discern, what is it that is no longer serving us? What is holding us back? What do I need to release? Then we can use our power of will. These 12 powers, these spiritual powers in consciousness are always working together, but we can use them in this way today in this sanctuary. power of will. I choose to release this. I'm choosing to release this, our power of will. Our power of release, to let it go, to put it into the flame, to write it down. Our power of then imagination. Well, now that I've got space, what do I want to create? What life do I want to live in 2024? You're only limited by your own imagination. And then the power of life, to give it life, to not only set an intention, but then take action on it. Give it energy. We have to do something for this to happen. It doesn't just happen. We have to do something. We have our trash collectors. In Denver, we have an alley, and our trash bins are right by our garage door, and they come right down the alley. But you have to move them out a foot, or they won't do it. If it's against the wall, they won't pick it up. You have to just move it just a little. It just takes a little bit, and they'll collect the trash. It's amazing. Moses and the Israelites came to the Red Sea. You know the story. And the people cried to Moses, 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 what are we going to do? And so Moses cried to God, God, what are we going to do? And God said, why are you yelling at me? Tell your people to walk. And the sea parted. They had to take that step first. Just like we have to take the step to first release and then envision and set an intention. Tell your people to start walking. Are you willing to start walking? Are you willing to take a look at what needs to be released today? And then set an intention for 2024. This ritual is an outer symbol of the inner work that we do. So maybe you have already released something and you want to just have the ritual be symbolic of the work that you've already done. Or maybe there's something you need to do more. Either way, it doesn't always just happen like right this moment. And it's a constant thing throughout the year. Whenever just like Christmas is not the only time we birth a new awareness of the divine nature of ourselves, this is not the only time that we can release. It can be any time. Anytime we come into an awareness of it. So we're going to write a letter to ourselves after we burn. So let's start with this. Let's make sure everybody has their supplies. Do you want to do it, Ryan, too? So raise your hand if you don't have an envelope. Make sure, there's one here. Make sure in your envelope you have a big piece of paper, blank piece of paper, and a little piece of paper. Okay, let's be very, 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 very clear. This is what goes in the flame, not this. If you put this in the flame, we're going to have smoke and ash and all that. This is going to just go poof in a flash. Okay? Make sure you have all 3 pieces. And the first thing I want you to do is to put your name and address on the envelope. Let's do that right now. Everybody got all the supplies they need? There's a hand up back there. Okay, you don't need a whole big piece of paper to write down what you're going to release. Spirit, it's symbolic. Spirit doesn't need a whole big list. Okay, everybody have what they need? So the first thing you're going to do is, and Ryan's going to play a little music in just a moment, is think about what you want to let go of. And you're going to write it on this little piece of paper, and you're going to come up to the bowl, and I'll light it in just a moment, and you're going to put it into the flame. It just needs to barely touch the flame, and it will poof, if you haven't done this before. It's a little scary at first, but it's okay. So after you've done that, you can start writing a letter. You're going to write a letter to yourself, date it December 2024, year from now. And you're going to write all the wonderful things that happened in 2024. The letter can be to yourself, from yourself. It can be to you, from God. However you want to do it, whatever works for you. And then you're going to put it in the envelope and seal it. We're not going to read them. This is between you and Spirit. And then you can leave them back in the back with us as you walk out, and we will mail them to you next year. How many of you got your letter from last year from us? A good number of you. Yeah. I got mine, and about half of it, things happened and half didn't, and that's okay. This is not set in stone that you're going to write it down and it's going to happen. You're setting an intention, this or something better. And those things that didn't happen from your letter that you wrote last year is the time to reassess. Is that still important to me? Is that something I still want in my life? So put on your letter those things that you want to see happen this year, whether they're in the works or not. Brad Paisley, who's a country artist, says, tomorrow is the first blank page of a 365-page book. Write a good one. Might as well. You're going to set an intention. Okay. Everybody clear on what we're doing? All right. This is the scary part. I'm going to light the flame. Or not. Oh, there it goes. Okay. I should have said, let's come up the middle. just going to give you about another 5 minutes or so to write your letter.